Hi everyone, today I'm doing a review on a series called the Marked series by S.J. And each book in this series begins with the words Eve of. So there's Eve of Darkness, Eve of Destruction, Eve of Chaos. And there's 3 novels in this series. And then unfortunately for some reason the author switched publishers and she kind of had to end the series abruptly, and that was just in 2 really short stories. So one was in some anthology, and one was just posted free on her website, and I'll post a link to that as well. Um, so yeah, there's just 3 books really and 2 very short stories. Okay, so the Eve series, or the Marked series, it is about a girl called Evangeline, and they all call her Eve, who is one day marked. So she gets put this kind of like burn into her arm, like the mark of God or the mark of Cain, and that means she has to kind of fight for God and fight demons, or in this series they call them kind of infernals, which is basically any evil creature. So like there's yeah, so there's demons and there's werewolves and there's vampires and there's like gargoyles and all this other random creatures. And but it's a very kind of has a religious tone to the series because it's based on Cain and Abel and a lot of other kind of biblical characters. And um, so Cain is in it and Abel is in it, and there's kind of like a love triangle in between the 3 of them. Um, and yeah, so throughout the books then she has to fight all these creatures and then deal with this kind of love triangle. And she doesn't want to be marked, she doesn't want to have to fight for God, she wants to have a normal life, but she has to kind of, fight through it all. And so the series started out with a pretty good premise, but it just wasn't executed well at all. Um, there was, I felt there was too many characters, and like the plot itself was kind of crazy, and it was constantly switching point of view. I think this would have been a much stronger series if the author just left the narrating to Eve. And then, if she had to, if she wanted to, she could have split the point of view between Eve, Cain, and Abel, so the triangle. But she also stuck in some other minor characters and their point of view, which just added to the kind of all over the place sense to the novels. I had constant lingering questions as well, and I know the series ended abruptly, but it wasn't even questions about the overall story of the novel. It was like lingering questions of like little things, like the author wouldn't answer things 100%. There was all little niggling things on the back of my mind. I was asking like why again did this happen? Like we never really got a proper explanation, and that really bugged me too. And the author kind of left kind of things wide open as well. One thing actually that really bugged me about this series was that every character, like obviously each character had a first name and a last name, but it was the fact that people refer to them using their first name and their last name all the time, even in the same paragraph. So for example, there was Abel, Reed Abel, and Alec Cain, and in the same paragraph someone might say, Reed, come over here, and oh damn that Abel. And you have to remember Reed and Abel were the same person, or Alec and Cain were the same person. And then there was Rigel and Gadara, like odd names as well. So I felt I had to remember twice as many characters because you had to remember both of their names, and they were used like complete interchangeably all the time. And at the beginning that was so annoying and so confusing. I mean, by the 3rd book you kind of got into it and like, okay, I know this is their name and this is their name. But I thought that was a bad move by the author. She should have just stuck with one. Or maybe have one character refer to them by their surname and the rest by their first name. But it was kind of all over the place. The one element of this book as well that was just totally unnecessary was one of the side effects of being marked was that Eve's like libido was heightened, so there was constant kind of cheap sex scenes in there, and like it was like she was constantly in heat or something, and that just really bugged me because it just wasn't necessary. The triangle, like I was interested in it enough to kind of, oh, I wanted to see who she would get with, but at times as well it was a little tiring because her feelings were kind of ambivalent one minute and strong the next, and character development wasn't great at times. So overall the series, you know, had a lot of negatives to it, and I didn't like the ending. And I think for that reason alone I wouldn't recommend the series, because you don't get the most satisfying ending. So based on that and all the other negative points, I wouldn't recommend this series. And it is such a pity, because it had lots of potential. Like, as I said, the overall premise was really good. I never really read something like that before, with the whole Cain and Abel thing and being marked by God, and it was just the execution that wasn't well, and it was a pity. So yeah, that was my review, and let me know what you think if you read it before.